have here is a very important project and a very important mission, and the completely reasonable objection of neighbors who are concerned about a 5-story large building going in on their block, which is something that we see in San Francisco all the time, and there's nothing exceptional or inappropriate about people taking issue with the size of a building. I grew up in the Philadelphia area in New Jersey, and went to school up and down the East Coast. I went to undergrad at Duke University and then law school at Harvard. After clerking for a judge, I came out here in 1997, and I've been here for the last 14 years, always lived in the Castro. I had actually always assumed I would go back to the Philadelphia area since that's where my family is, but I was always interested by San Francisco in terms of what it is as a city, its culture, amazing LGBT community, and so I came out here for a summer and just fell in love with it and ended up coming back. I'm an attorney, so I started out in private practice at a private law firm doing complex commercial litigation, and then in 2002 I moved over to the San Francisco City Attorney's Office, where I worked on the trial team doing trials for the city, handling my own cases and supervising a team of attorneys as well.
What about the roads? We need more money for it.
Another huge issue confronting the city is the deferred maintenance on our infrastructure. We have a lot of infrastructure that's been deteriorating because we haven't maintained it properly, from our roads to our sewer system to Muni, and we need to be much, much more diligent about maintaining our infrastructure. I've been interested in politics since I was a kid. I worked on campaigns when I was a teenager. I was involved campaigning against Senator Jesse Helms when I was in college. But when I came out here, I wasn't really initially involved politically. I was involved more in community work, helping to build the LGBT community center, doing neighborhood work, and I eventually started doing some campaigns and gradually got more involved in Democratic Party politics and in the Alice B. Toklas LGBT Democratic Club. And then ultimately in 2004 I ran for the Democratic County Central Committee and ended up chairing the committee. So it was a gradual process for me, and then by the time I started thinking about running for supervisor, it really made sense because of my involvement in the community and in politics. I knocked on about 15,000 doors and just met a huge number of people, which is really the best way to learn about the neighborhood and about the city and what people want and what people's concerns are. And so I just feel like I know so much more than before I started campaigning. I'm a good liberal Democrat. You know, I guess in the San Francisco little mini spectrum, I'm probably considered more middle of the road. But one thing about me is that I'm very independent when it comes to the issues, and I don't vote a party line, and I just judge each issue on its merits.
We have provided woefully inadequate support for our transition age youth, and when we don't provide that support, we end up just causing other problems. It's not like it disappears. These are our youth who are here in our community, and we need to make sure that we're providing services for them. Right now, yesterday we had a hearing on the DCYF budget, and I was very disappointed with aspects of the budget, particularly that all add-backs were being eliminated that had been added last year relating to a number of different subjects, including transition age youth. I don't agree with that. I'm in discussions with DCYF, and I'm hopeful that we'll be able to work something out. My predecessor, Bevan Dufty, was always committed to making sure that this funding occurred, and I'm going to continue to do that. So you have an ally in me.
The budget is the most imminent issue, and we do have a structural budget deficit in the city. And so we need to deal, of course, with the short term of balancing our budget in a way that does not decimate basic city services that people rely on, but also to address our long-term structural budget deficit. And that means implementing some budget reforms that smooth out our budget process so it's not a boom-bust kind of budget, It means reforming our pension system and retiree healthcare system so that they're stable and that they don't drain the general fund. We do a decent job providing low-income housing. We do a terrible job providing housing for lower middle class and middle class people, people who are working and paying taxes and that we need to have here for a functioning economy. And so I'm looking for ways to try to fund more of that kind of housing, particularly for essential employees like teachers, nurses, first responders. We have some major projects coming up in the city, like the renovation of Dolores Park, which is a once in 50-year opportunity to define what the park is and what changes we want to make to it. So that's going to be a very significant project. Same with Glen Canyon, which is going to undergo a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it really,
And I saw and I once again was reminded of how much I'm looking forward to fixing the irrigation system. When's the last time it rained? And it's like, they're like puddles.
there was a head leaking. Actually, the water department.
We elect our supervisors by district, and it's very important to pay attention to the district, to be engaged in the projects in the district, but we also represent the whole city. And I think any district supervisor that just focuses on the district without addressing those big citywide issues is not doing his or her job. So every day I make sure that I'm working both on the major citywide issues and on district issues.